What's up? Welcome back to the podcast. There's going to be a lot of nuggets in here. This is definitely one that you should gain an incredible amount of value out of. If it's a little bit more than 10 minutes, which has been kind of our standard, just stick with us. I promise you that this is definitely going to help you. Hey, if you're getting value out of this, you don't have to hit that subscribe button. If you're starting a business, we want to supply you with lights. We've made all the mistakes. We've been in the therapy for all the mistakes that we've made, so you don't have to. So we'd appreciate it if you buy lights from us. If you don't, that's cool too. You're not banned from the channel. We still love you. All right, so we're going to jump in. We had a question on YouTube from one of our people that watches that said lease versus buy. This is a big thing in the industry. Everybody really wants to know. And I'm just going to tell you a couple stories of what we've done in the past to, again, help you make a better and more informed decision. 13 years ago, my business partner and I started a local business, and we grew it up to close to 500 clients. I sold my half to him and was out for several years, and then started another business. Our first season was last season. In our first business, our process was for the customer to buy the lights up front, and then the price would go down the next year. That was easy for the customer to understand. We didn't really have to explain a whole lot of, although we did, we absolutely set the expectations and gave the information so the customer was informed. But it was very easy for them to understand that they owned those lights. And we would tell them, if you ever want them back, we got a box with your name on it. They're your lights already. You paid for them the first year. Just call us if you don't want to do it, and we'll give you the box. We'll give you the box back. What we did not give them was the map, so it was terribly difficult for them to install the lights that we put on their house and developed the system for and all that, which is, if that's how you want to do it, do that. You could give them the map if you wanted to. That's totally a personal business decision for you. You put the work in, that's essentially your proprietary information. And it's rare. We would lose about 10% of our customers per year, 10 to 15%. That's typical attrition in this industry. And occasionally, if we had 100 customers a certain season and we lost 10 of them, maybe one of those would ask for their lights back. So it's really not that big a deal. We stored them for them. That's another question is, should I store or should I have a customer store? We'll probably talk about that a little bit because it ties into a little bit to leasing versus selling the lights. So we had a simple model. We charged the pricing that we had 5 years ago or 6 years ago when I was still in that business was $4.50 a foot the first year, and then $3 a foot after that. They went up, the company that I was with went up in like 2020 or 2021 when I got out of that business. It was successful, easy to explain. In our new business, when we started with last year, I went through several different processes of how to sell lights. There's a couple reasons behind that, because I wanted to test and I wanted to try out something different. So I didn't sell the lights. We would lease the lights. We leased the lights to our customers last year. We did 90 houses last year. The first 45 to 60 houses that we did were like tight circle houses of family, friends, friends of friends, friends of family. Those were easy to sell because they trusted me. So if I said lease the lights, buy the lights, we store the lights in the cloud, they would have trusted me because they knew me. So those are easy to sell. As we started to get into those sales that came from Facebook, the people that we did not know, that we did not have a direct or indirect connection with, it started to get a little bit harder to sell. I noticed our closing rates for those first 45 to 60 customers were about 65%, which is really good. Here's another thing though, our prices were low. I started low. First year back into the business, I wanted to gain clients, and I was more concerned with a long-term client at a lower price than higher price clients, and maybe not as long-term. I hope that makes sense. I wanted to get the business started and going. The thing that was in consideration there was, one, training. Are we doing what you do? And can we explain it? And do we understand why? And if we make certain moves, there's a reason behind it, right? Those first 45 to 60, we'll just say 50 customers. Let's just keep it simple. The first 50 customers, our price was $4 a foot. That's pretty low, right? And we didn't have a great profit margin on that, and I knew that. I knew going into the season that I wanted to get this business rolling. I wanted to keep our guys busy, and that was more important to me than making a bunch of money. These are customers that we're going to hold on to, and we will have margin this season because we don't have the material cost. But we sold those as a lease. Now that was with a 10% discount for early install for October. So it was really $3.60 a foot, okay? I'm not recommending that you do that, but just understand if you're brand new to the business, you want to grab business, right? You want to grab customers. It's more important for you to hold on to customers and keep customers than to get a new one, because that existing customer is going to refer. Like focus on those customers that you already have and marketing to those customers so that they tell other people. That's the best referral. As the season started going on, a couple days into November, we started modifying our pricing. In November, the discounts expired. So no discounts. $4.75 a foot, no discounts. So we went up essentially from $3.60 because of the discount to $4.75 a foot. What I saw there, this is interesting, and that's when we kind of started getting outside of our circle. We were doing some that people that we still knew, and we were getting some from Facebook. Another thing to consider is that the people that know you are more likely to install early October than the people that don't know you. And once you get through a season, consider all your clients people that know you. Your existing clients are more willing to install in October because you've already kind of trained them that that's okay. It's a mindset deal than your new customers. So your goal will be to install as many existing customers in October as possible so that your new customers, you can fill up November with it. It's harder to get a new customer to early install. It's not impossible. People do it all the time. It's just more likely. It's more likely. At that time, when we were kind of shifting outside of our direct circles with customers, it was getting harder to sell. I wasn't closing as much. Our closing rates were starting to dip to, I like to see them around 50 to 55%. If we're preparing the customer well, that goes a lot into the phone call on the front end. How do you deal with the customer on the front end? How do you set expectations? How do you set up the meeting? You need to be telling them about pricing so that when you go out, you can close. So 50 to 60%, they're prepared. They know what the price is going to be around, and it should line up where you're closing at least 50 to 60%. We were closing like 40% at that point, and so I was like, what the heck's going on? So we rolled with that for probably 20 days to 25 days in November at $475 a foot with no discounts. The lease model, and the explanation was, well, we own the lights, we'll store them, we'll take care of them. The language is similar for leasing or selling the lights. Both of them, you're going to say, we own the lights, we take care of them. If a bulb goes out, we're going to come fix it. If you have any issues, a timer sometimes messes up or goes out, we'll come fix that. Whatever your guarantee is, 24 hours or whatever, we're going to take care of you. And these lights are custom fit to your house, blah, 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 blah. The only difference is, one, the customer owns the lights, and one, the customer doesn't own the lights. And one, over here, the selling the lights, the price goes down the next year. And over here, the idea behind leasing the lights is that the price stays the same every year. If you're going to do the lease the lights, just a straight up lease, then your price stays the same, should be a little bit less than what other companies are charging to sell. Does that make sense? If a company over here is charging $8 a foot to sell them, and then they go to $5 a foot after that the next year, then your lease price should be maybe $5 or $6 a foot, right? That just makes sense. Mindset, like, does a customer understand it? And when we bumped our price to $475, I was having kickback on the price for, and this is our market, right? Your market may be different, but I was having kickback on the price and not selling as much on the total price. We don't tell our clients our price per foot. You shouldn't either. Just give them the total price for what they want. So we went through that for about 20 days, and I called my buddy one day that's a great friend of mine, great business guy, and I'm like, man, I'm not closing. I'm not closing well. And I know that I know how to close, right? I'm good with people. And I can read people to a certain extent. I don't have like a super high level of discernment, but I just understand how to connect with people. And I was connecting with people and not closing. I felt good about the connection, not good about the closing. So I ran my idea by him. I was like, look, customers are not understanding this lease thing. Here, for me, again, market people think yours may be different. Should I shift it? And he said, well, what would be your shift? And I said, they don't understand why. They really, when it boiled down to it, they don't understand why the first year is not more expensive. Essentially, their question was, why is the second year not cheaper? But what that really meant was, to a business owner, why is the first year not more expensive? I don't like the aspect of what we did at our old company where we'll give them a box and they have no idea how to put it up. I wanted to do something different. And I just honestly like to just be oppositional sometimes and do things different. We should all question why, right? If we're doing something just because it's been done a certain way for a long time, we should question why it's being done that way and evaluate the motives behind it. So I said, here's my thought. I don't want to sell. I'm okay with, and we had been telling customers this the whole time, I'm okay with giving them the lights back. I'm okay with selling them the lights on the back end. So, for example, if a customer comes to me this year and says, hey man, I think I want to put my lights up myself. Here's what I guaranteed them. I'll give you the lights. I'll sell you the lights. It's going to be like I was going to charge like $1 or $1.50 a foot, what they cost me. I think it was around $1.50. And I'll give you the map. And you can watch our videos on YouTube to learn how to put them up. Nobody's probably going to do that. Everybody that I mentioned that to is like, man, I'm hiring you to do it. So I'm probably not going to do that. And I'll be like, but it's just an option. So here's what I told my buddy. What if we just shift the wording so that we can charge more the second year? And he's like, okay, well, how are you going to shift it? And I said, okay, here's what I'm thinking. We charge more the first year. It's still a lease. We charge more the first year as a new home setup package. So essentially, I was going to add $1.25 or $1.50 a foot as a new home setup package. If you've been in this industry, you know that the first year takes a lot longer than the second year anyways. So that can make sense to a customer. It would take us 4 hours to do your job this year, which I don't normally go through that with a customer unless they ask. And next year it's going to take 2 hours. So this year is going to cost more. You can tell them it's a lot more work the first year. We have to customize this. And this is already part of the sales script on the phone and in person, or the sales process on the phone and in person. You're going through, we're going to customize this to your house. We're going to put a bulb on every peak. We're going to hide the wires. It's going to be like Bluetooth to your timer. You're not even going to see the wires. They're going to come on and off automatically. All this is a high level of customization. It takes longer. As you're saying those things, the customer is registering. Okay, yep, that makes sense. Should be higher first year. Should be higher first year. Okay, it's probably going to be more the first. They're probably thinking things like that. And we shifted. We shifted to $5.25 a foot, about towards the end of November, with $1, and I can't remember if it was $1.25 or $1.50 new home setup package fee. We don't call it a fee, we just call it a new home setup package. That drops off the next year. So if it was $5.25 and it was $1.25, then the next year would be $4 a foot, which there's profit there at $4 a foot. with no material costs the next year. That started working, man. When we did that at the end of November, we were closing about 65% of our bids when we started that. So rolling into like the 5th of December, and this is like closing out the season, you also have a level of demand that you don't have before. If somebody calls you December 5th and they want Christmas lights, it's like variable pricing on a toll road. You can charge a little bit more because their main thing is quickness. Get to the job quick. They're going to say, when can you install? Well, I can move you up, and if I get a deposit, I can get you in 2 days from now. Great, sign me up. At the end of the season in December, we were charging $6 a foot, and $1.50 of that was the new home setup package. And our closing rates stayed up. I say all of that to say, and I'm going to come back to keeping up with that because that can be a challenge. I say all that to say, you can do whatever model you want. Just do it well. And if something's not working, don't be afraid to modify mid-season. It's okay for you to change a process if it's not working. That's why we test stuff. A/B testing. You could do A/B testing on selling. Try this, you should. Try this here. Try selling like this, okay? And then you go to the next customer and try selling like this. And do each one of them 10 times and see which one works the most. And then pick, if it was B, you go to B and you split off. You take that process that you had for B and you split it off and modify something mildly to have another 10 tests of each. And then go to the one that works and keep doing that. Like, try different things as you're selling. The last thing I'm going to say is that if you're going to modify stuff mid-season, in-season, beginning of season, if you're testing through, you have to track it. You have to keep up with, how do you know what's working if you don't know what you're doing each time? You have to track what you're doing. And if you're specifically modifying pricing like this, you have to have a software to track it because we have different pricing for different customers, right? I don't want to charge them the wrong price next year. The data is all in the quote for us. And you can hide certain things in the quote where the customer doesn't see it, but we still have access to it so that when we send out emails for installs for this season, we'll know what price they're going to be at. We don't have to guess. Okay, hey, that's it. I don't know how long we went, but man, take that and run with it. Like, don't be afraid to modify. Go with the system that makes sense to you, that you feel like you can sell. You got to believe it to sell it, right? You have to believe it. If you don't believe it, you ain't going to sell crap. I'm not either. Like, I have to believe it. I have to believe that this is a service that is a value for people, that people want, that's going to provide them joy, it's going to provide us joy. We want to let people know that that's how we feel, by our actions, by our face, by our body language, all the above. Okay, remember, love God, love others. Let your work reflect that. We'll catch you on the next one.